for all the 100 Austrian district waste management associations. And I will, in the content of my speech, I will introduce you to some of waste management in short. I will pass on the link to our book we proposed and produced, and which is now updated, and it is in English. You can share download it as a PDF. Then I will introduce you to our Union of Municipal Waste Management Associations and to the mainly rural collection schemes we have, as our association is mainly for rural areas. There is a second organization in Austria within the city. There's associations of cities, but we are cooperating very closely, especially in lobbying with the ministry and in creation of our laws, and also now in the implementation of circular economy plan, where we are in the middle of discussions with our ministry and how to implement all the new regulations coming from Brussels. And I'm also part of a international lobbying organization in Brussels, Municipal Waste Europe, where from 18 different member states we cooperate and coordinate our interests and lobby in Brussels to the new waste management directives and laws, such as the last one came, the single-use plastic directive, which is to be introduced now. So I have some experience. I will show you some key figures which are mainly valid for Austria and can be an example. In Austria, at the end of the 60s, we did not have any landfill fields, and there was a big problem with lying around waste in landscape or on fields, and no one caring for it, and also some hazards from cars that were put into dump sites only without no protection against the wastewater, against the water, and the water poisoning of waste. And so the lawmakers in the different provinces said the organization of a regular waste management or regular waste collection without separation is a duty of each municipality, and the municipality has to care for this. Either she buys some lorries and collects it itself, or she puts it tenders it out to a company that does this service for her. And later on I will introduce you to the EPR system to reduce waste. We could implement it together with ARA, and we have a very narrow connection. We have contracts with ARA, and now since 2013 with 5 other collection schemes, PROs, producer responsibility schemes, that are in competing on this service for the market of packaging mainly, but also on the WEE, meaning waste of electric and electronic waste. And later on, I want to point to deposit return schemes for especially for drinking, for beverages, as this is one of the topics which are discussed mainly now in Austria, as we do not have a compulsory deposit return schemes, as they have 10 European countries already implemented, and they are functioning quite well. And we, as municipalities, are in favor of this, as the collection of beverage bottles and cans from litter is a big problem in Austria and causes a lot of costs with the municipalities. So let's start. Here is the book about our responsible resource management, a handbook of Austrian waste management. It was published in 2014, is updated now. It will, I hope, will be in 2020. We will be able to relaunch it. And in 2016, the English version was published. It's on our homepage to download. Here you have some important figures. What is the economic value or the economic activity public waste management is handling? It is about recycling centers we built have been invested in about 750 million euro, which also annual waste management fees the municipalities and cities prescribe every household, sum up to about 800 million euro a year. And the economic value added, as I told you, is about 800 million a year, and we are directly and indirectly employing about 15,000 persons, and the private sector in Austria is employing another 25,000 people with waste management in Austria. And here you see the figures of municipal waste, the main fractions, which is only a small part of the total waste amount of about 60 million tons in the year of 2018, where we have the last statistical figures of our environmental agency published. And here you have the main fractions of mixed municipal waste and bulky waste, summing up to about 1,600 million tons a year. We collect recyclables with separate collection of 1.5 million tons and about 1 million tons of bio-waste, which is separately collected and composted, and also small quantity hazardous waste and WEE of about 130,000 tons, summing up to the figure of municipal waste of 4.4 million tons a year. And here is the number, the detail of the recyclables with organic waste, paper and cardboard, wood packaging, and bulky waste, glass packaging, plastic packaging, metal packaging, scrap, and also textiles and other small recyclables are summing up to 2.5 million of this 4.4 million of municipal waste amount. And you have it in the same numbers for international comparison in kilogram per inhabitant. And I have made some mental experiment. I have here the list of the plants and the treatment plants we have in Austria for the waste streams to be treated, either the incineration plants, chemical treatment plants, but also recycling plants and shredder for metal, building waste plants, mechanical treatment plants, and composting plants, which is about 405. These are mainly agricultural composting plants, but about 150 biogas plants where the bio-waste is put into gas and the gas is utilized, and the rest is composted and utilized in the agriculture as a fertilizer as well. And some sorting plants and plants for treating plastics and recycling plants for separate collection, summing up to about, and landfills, but most of the landfills are landfills for building waste, which is not burnable or incinerable anymore, as we since 2009 we have realized or implemented the so-called landfill ban, meaning in Austria that no waste that has more total carbon content of more than 5% is to be landfilled. And if you look at the second line here, not the line, but column. You have plants per 1 million inhabitants, and if you want to come up to a similar waste management organization in Ukraine, I multiplied this 1 million inhabitants by your 42 million inhabitants in Ukraine. What could it mean in about 20 or 30 years' time if you want to come up to an Austrian level? We have a sharing of public and private collection and services, whereas in the rural areas, most of the collection services are tendered out to private companies, but the municipalities still say where the waste has to go, and where. So they have the responsibility of the decision making. What is to be done with the waste is in public hands. This meaning either in elected mayors or with the associations in the boards of mayors of these waste management associations we have, which is quite important for public acceptance. And the private companies are doing mainly the industrial waste and collecting and treating the industrial waste, but also under the general waste management laws. And we had some very thin waste management laws in the beginning of the 90s, but the book of the Codex of the Waste Management Laws and all the ordinances is come up to now a book of about 500 pages, which is rather a complicated part of legislation up to now, and has become an important economic field for the economy. Now let's come to an example how we collect separately waste from the households in rural areas, which I took an example of a district of Krems, which is a district around the city of Krems in Wachau in Lower Austria. At the curbside collection from the household, we have the residual waste is the gray bin with the gray lid. We have bio waste, which is voluntary. If a household wants to compost at home, he can do the self-composting, the home composting, but the alternative is, and since 1992, we have the stipulation, which is a federal law, that no bio-waste should be put to residual waste or to any other recyclable waste, as it's the cheapest way of treatment, and collecting it separately is the bio-waste, and also its use of compost as a fertilizer in organic agriculture. Then we have the second big, great fraction is the paper and cardboard with a red lid, and we have the plastic bin or a plastic bag for the household, which collects the all the plastic, cardboard, and in some areas also metal packaging. All the plastic packaging is collected at the household level, and on in so-called collection points, this we have for about 100 households. We have these collection points for glass and metal packaging, and when it's not collected in the yellow bag. And we have recycling centers for about 5,000 to 10,000 inhabitants, for 5 to 6 municipalities together organized, and the households and the citizens can go there with their cars and bring the bulky waste, and I will show on here in the lower part the enumeration of what is collected there, from bulky waste, wood, metal scrap, garden waste, carton, demolition waste, styrofoam, foils, cans, textiles, tires, agricultural foils, hard plastic, and WEEE, and about 22 different fractions of small quantities hazardous waste from households, only to detoxify the residual waste and not let it in the residual waste. And here you have...
Sorry, and may I ask you to repeat the slide again, because I think I lost the translation.
The first slide, or what?
This one, where we are.
Where we are, okay. Here you see the 3 levels of curbside collection points and recycling centers, and also the tonnage and the kilogram per inhabitants, which are collected of this amount. This is here you have about 20 in this district. We have 24,000 households with about 57,000 inhabitants, and they are producing a total waste amount of 35,000 tons a year, or 600 kilograms per inhabitant, and more than 60% of this total amount is recycled. As you can only see, the residual waste and the WEEE and the hazardous waste and the bulky waste is not recycled, and all the other things are recycled. So we have different areas in Austria or provinces where the collection rate is over 70%, and according to the new way of calculation methodology the EU Commission is introducing now, we come down with a effective recycling rate of about 53% from total 58% in Austria. And here you have one of
and
the...
May I ask about the last thought? So 53% yes. Is what? Is the one you have, or?
Is the recycling rate after the new calculation method of the EU calculation method.
It's in your municipality.
It's in all over Austria.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Sveta, I give the turn to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and here you have one of the reasons, which is the picture, the comparison of the main fractions of the development between 2017 and 2018, and due to the increase of our personal well-being or personal income, which is increasing, like our GDP is increasing, we did not succeed in uncoupling the increase of waste production from the increase of GDP, but we could stabilize the waste production and the increase by at the level between 1 or 2% every year. But the main increase of GDP going to waste goes to recyclables. So this is why I have put this on the 2% and the 2.3% on the separate collected waste increase in these 2 years. And here you have the development of the success of the Austrian waste management scheme since the introduction of federal waste management law, which was implemented in 1992, and the ARA was founded in 1993 with the packaging ordinance and implementing extended producer responsibility for packaging, and in 2005 for WEEE. And here you can see in the year of 2004, with the decrease of landfilling, the gray, the number 6 area is the gray of landfilling. This was the year when the stipulation, the landfill ban came into effect. And now for the first treatment, we only landfilling directly untreated waste of 0.1%. If you calculate the residues which are to be landfilled in Austria of ashes after incineration, it's about 9% we are landfilling of our waste to be treated. And the number 5, you have biological mechanical treatment plants, and the 4 is the development of incineration, which goes on. And the number 3 is hazardous waste and batteries and WEEE waste, and the blue, the number 2 is recyclables, and number 1 is the number of the development of biological waste and bio-waste, which is recycled. So only the 3 numbers, the number 3, 4, 5, and 6 are landfill or treated, and number 2 and 1 and 2 are recycled, and they are in the bigger amount of municipal waste. Let's put it like this. And we have identified the activities and actors in waste management, where we have to reuse a minimization program and making awareness programs of waste reduction and minimization, which goes to the households, but also industry and commerce. They produce the waste, then it's collected either by municipal collectors or private collectors, and also by the EPR schemes who are responsible for packaging, WEEE, and end-of-life vehicles. And some parts of the separate collected, especially WEEE and end-of-life, goes to metal shredder industry or to the plastic sorting industry, and all the other recyclables like paper or wood, which are the biggest fractions, go to sorting and conditioning before they go to the recycling market, and residues from sorting go to waste to energy incinerators, which most use either in industrial and energy use or some district heating energy use, like in Vienna or in Lower Austria in St. Pölten. Then we have a very active actual recycling branch, which is very big, as we have a big paper industry, which is almost more than 60%, 70% exporting their products, and the need to import a lot of paper and cardboard for the production, which is the same for the wood industry, for the wooden compound plate industry, a big glass industry, which almost 80% and 90% of the glass sold in Austria is going back to the glass industry to be recycled, actually recycled, and almost in endless numbers of cycles can be recycled. The metal industry is rather big in Austria, which is utilizing all the separate collected metal here in Austria, but it's a free market of this recyclables, and the plastic industry with about 800 companies dealing with plastic recycling in the one or the other way. And the biggest fraction is composting, with a very specific Austrian situation, as we have about 30% of our farmers are farming the organic way, and they are not allowed in organic farming to use industrial fertilizer, but they have a need for compost as a natural fertilizer. And from this recycling, the product, the recyclables go back into products or as used as fertilizer. So this is the idea of and the actors which are involved in Austrian waste management. And now I come to I will not read this. This is the definition of producer responsibility, where the thought and the theory, which was invented by Thomas Lindquist from a Swedish Lund University in the 1990s, where the thought is, the principle is that the industry producing the products and also the packaging is this actor knows best how to produce and also to take back, and he has to be also involved into the responsibility to take care not only for the product until the point of sale, and then it's free, and everyone else, or as a public organization, the public waste management should care for the recycling or for the treatment, a proper treatment, and what is happening with the material stream and how it's going to hit nature in a positive or a negative way. Waste management is or has become necessary also due to hygienic standards. As I don't know whether in Ukraine you could see the reports of Naples or Lebanon, where people would incinerate in the streets huge heaps of waste, as the public transport and public waste management and collection system did not function, and rats and other hygienic problematic situations came out, and the burning of plastic in the streets caused a lot of poisonous substances in the air, like dioxin and furans, and also hitting the lungs and the health of people. So this is one of the reasons why the idea was also to make the producers responsible, and if not responsible, at least to pay, to include the real price of a product of its total lifespan, so as that as is with the packaging here in Austria. And we have there are several guidelines. This is one of the Commission's guidelines of 2014. I showed the principle where the producer and importer is responsible and has to pay to a so-called producer responsibility organization, which serves for the producer or importer the service to organize the correct treatment or separate collection. And the PROs have pay for waste holders, either local authorities like our associations, or the industry, commerce and industry, the professional waste generators, and also the waste operators for collection and sorting. And also they pass on their secondary raw materials or recyclables to the industry, which pays again to waste management operators or to the PROs, like it is in Austria. And you will hear from my colleague Dieter Schuch later on. And here is the fully organizational responsibility as it is introduced in Austria, where the industry pays for the secondary raw material to the PROs directly, and it is their duty to organize the recycling of the material with the industry. And here you have the different, this is a study where the financial responsibility in the different European countries for end-of-life vehicles and for oil, for instance, or for packaging and for VE products is given where the different countries are situated. This is the principle how it is implemented in Austrian law. If it's rather complicated to be seen from outside, I have separated it in information, in the flow of information, in the flow of money, in the flow of recyclables, where the PROs have to apply for admittance with the ministry and have to fulfill certain conditions and give some guarantees to the ministry. Then they have to be part of a coordinating body and give information to those and also finance it, and give information to the consumers in Austria by waste consultants as for information and motivation for the packaging and WE, and also for the PROs pay for hiring bins and collection centers. They are ordering the sorting and the recycling and treatment where they have to pay for, and the producers pay the PROs. So this is the main principles on a very abstract level. Here is the Austrian 4 different EPR schemes we have since 1993. Packaging in end-of-life vehicles since 2001, and waste of electric and electronic equipment since 2005, and batteries since 2008, and this has been run since then. Here are some I put together the packaging ordinance and the waste of the principles that are laid in our laws, and I will not go into these details as it's quite as the Chamber of Commerce initiated as a service organization for the producers. In the first thing, it was the producers were very reluctant against it, and had some big pressure in negotiating with them. Then the PROs have to apply for a concession, and the PROs negotiate contracts with municipalities and other collection facilities, and also with private waste collectors. And the costs for collection and information of the consumer are divided by market shares between different PRO schemes, and coordinating organizations are run together and financed by all the PROs. Both there's 2 of these coordinating bodies. We have one for packaging, which is Verpackungskoordinierungsstelle, packaging coordinating body, and electric and electronic waste coordination body, and a single organization for end-of-life vehicles, which is an association of our 6 big shredder companies. Here is only the similar the tasks and what are the packaging coordinating body is doing for them, and this is the organizational scheme they are running, and also they have this is the organizational scheme for the WE, and also here what they are. This is the collection scheme we are collecting separately in our amenity sites or recycling centers, from large applicants, small household electric applicants, cooling applicants, display and screens, and gas discharge lamps, and in the battery scheme, device batteries, starter batteries, and industrial batteries. And the main task of the clearing body, I will not go into detail. If you can have and spread my presentation here to all the participant who is interested, or put it on a on your website to be downloaded, so it's free information for you. Here is the same thing, and here you have an idea of collection centers of about 2,100 municipal collection centers throughout of Austria for packaging, and batteries mainly, but also for the bulky and waste and wood waste and scrap on. And to come to an end with the EPR schemes from the 4.4 million tons of municipal waste, about 16% is the responsibility of the EPR schemes of the waste. Why have been the packaging been chosen as the first scheme to be implemented in Austria? This was because from the volume in the residual waste bin, the packaging, the plastic packaging and the packaging as such is the product fraction that has the most volume scheme. And we had, as I said in the first part, with a bottleneck in landfilling capacity, that had been to be done after a ABC analysis. What has the first to be done, and this was identified for the packaging, and for the second was then for the OEE, because of first of all, there are some hazardous parts in the OEE, but a lot of metal parts and also valuable metal parts are in the OEE mainly, so they are easily recycled, and a big recycling industry is interested in recycling the plants. So you have some overview, and here the link to this fundamental, I would say, report on this extended producer responsibility guidelines of 2014. It's not very up to date now anymore, but the principle laid down there are still valid. And here is some, I took only some results on figures of cost effectiveness and what is the collection rate and what is the fees paid in the different countries to be seen for. This is for batteries, and here is the same for paper and graphic paper, and cost-effective schemes for oils, for used oils, for packaging. Here we have here, and to come to my end, I want to say it's a very good thought if one has or has to implement a new scheme of waste management, to think for beverage containers as for the plastic bottles, which is in the so-called single-use plastic directive, which was launched by the Commission and by the EU last year, or in 2018, and has to be implemented now in the member states until July of 2021. We have it's to see about beverage containers to upkeep, or as I know, there have been also in Ukraine deposit schemes for all the bottles of beer, vodka, and other beverages to upkeep or reintroduce those, and to have much less littering around, as this is one of the reasons why we from the municipality side argue now also in Austria for the introduction and the implementation of this single-use plastic directive, which by beginning of the year 2029, 90% of the plastic bottles have to be collected separately and recycled. And this, in our estimation, and also the experts of the ministry say, it's only possible by introducing deposit return scheme where the buyer buys a bottle in the shop and pays additional 30 cents, which is the proposal in Austria now, as a deposit which he gets back when he brings back the plastic bottle or the can to the shop, or to a reverse vending machine that can be set up in different other places, not only in shops. And one of the examples which has been very successful is the Lithuanian example that has been introduced in 2016. And I give you the hint or the link to a study done by a Reloop platform in 2018, saying, well, these are already deposit return schemes for beverages implemented and in the different years mentioned here, and the different ways analyzed in the different ways. Here's the example of Lithuania, how the information, the material, and the money stream is managed. In one of the conclusions of this study was that in all 27 studies which have been done throughout the world, the whole world, also Canada, Australia, and some examples from Singapore and other international examples are given in this study. So this can be an interesting hint for information also for the ministry to think on. With this, I'm at the end here. You have some links, but unfortunately these websites are all in German, and you will have to somehow only municipal waste Euro is in English. And here are our contacts, and here you have also the links in English to our green book on waste management. So I hope I could give you some small overview and introduction on our experiences with extended responsibility schemes.
Thanks a lot, Johan. It was quite fast, especially at the end. But I hope we catched at least main points. Luba will now switch to translation, and I will manage questions from the audience. Шановні колеги, от тепер саме час для ваших запитань або в чат, або голосом. Ви можете спікеру сформулювати ті питання, які у вас є. Ну і не забувайте, що у нас ще один спікер попереду, який, можливо, вже в своїй презентації буде давати відповіді на запитання. У кого є питання, прошу пишіть. Those of you who have questions, please write in chat or wave, so we will switch on your mics and you will be able to ask.
Світ, давай скажемо, а як робити wave?
Як робити wave? Внизу у вас є поряд з чатом, в тому самому рядку, останній має бути reactions, кнопочка, блок, і ви там можете помахати, поаплодувати чи щось зробити.
Можна я буду перша, а потім буду перекладати? Так, тільки ти тоді перекладай, а я буду цей.
Да, добре.
Я одне питання.
Давай.
Johan, I will, as a translator, ask my first question and then turn to, like, there were two slides, one in the beginning of your presentation, where you had the distribution between types of waste. And it was quite a similar distribution between the waste which is handled by municipality and the one which can be, no, I am not saying it well, okay, the one which can be recycled. And the one in another, it was like 1.5, almost similar on the one of the first slides, but then later you say that EPR managed only 16%.
Yes.
Why is this difference? There it was like a half being like to recycle and not, and then different thing.
The difference is mainly due to the big amount of organic waste that is handled by municipalities and their partners in and recycled in organic agriculture.
Thank you.
Оля Мелень ще ставила питання. We have another question from Оля. Ola asks, what is the percentage of electronic and electrical equipment waste which is now collected and processed in Austria? Perhaps the question is the percent from all of the equipment which is imported or produced in Austria.
You have this on. I have to share the my presentation again.
Yep.
And go back to this. I have this on one of the slides. I will just show. So one. Okay. Okay. I will try. Oh, this was. So here you have the number of the amount put on the market from electric and electronic devices. This is the number which is collected separately and recycled. This is about 60%, as you see here, as a total. And this is what is still in residual waste or in bulky waste, or which is not recycled, is not in the waste stream, as we do not find a lot of WEEE products, but also in the storage in the cellars and homes, which are not put to waste or to bulky waste yet. So the actual numbers, but it depends also the numbers you cannot put into relationship in the actual year, but you have also to take into account the lifespan during ordinary use or correct use of, for instance, a washing machine that is that's lifespan is between 15 and 20 years. So it is not waste, but it's put on the market now and will be waste in 20 years.
Okay, sounds like we're done with this question. Any other questions? Якісь ще питання до Йогана? Колеги? Окей, я думаю, що...
У мене є ще одне тоді. You said that there was some concession as an instrument to let and force industry start doing EPR. Like one of the main concerns for Ukraine is how to make industry do this. So which ways did you use to force them? Details.
It was, there's one principle in environmental protection, that's all. Without any legal enforcement, we do not have any progress in environmental improvement. So the industry only, also in Austria, could be forced only by law. They are trying to influence the parliamentary process of such laws, as it's a democratic process, and they have usually big lobbying groups influencing the parliamentary parties and the parliamentarians, the members of parliament, not to vote in favor for this. So it is always a big, I would say, social or discussion in a society, which groups and interest groups prevail. And without a strong political need and a strong political will to implement these things from their own, industry will never do, because they are after, this is not to protect environment is not in their main topics. They are for making profits with their goods and for paying interest for their capital owners. So it is not in their interest, and the society has to force by law to implement such stipulations.
And what were these enforcement instruments?
Enforcement instruments were, for instance, the law that every producer is is enforced. First, it was to take back all the packaging in the shops, for instance, the trade. This was the first step of our packaging law, and as an answer, the producers and importers founded the ARA, a company for the service for doing that for them, and so that the packaging is not given back in the shops. So this would be one of the basic possible principles to educate the consumer, not first of all not to buy the packaging. He wants the product and not the packaging. The industry says, but it protects the product from being damaged during transportation and distribution. But the package material becomes waste at the point when the consumer consumes the product. So this is one of the things, and to give it back to the big shops and shop owners. This could be one of the enforcement, to force the shop owners to take back, but on the other hand, also to take back all the material they're putting on the market for the producers or the importers. So this is a rather a simple stipulation in legal terms, but has a big effect.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Next question from Janina. Janina, you may switch on your mic.
Hello? Yes?
Я
перекладаю.
Uh-huh.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much. It's really a very important topic now. Johan, I have two questions. First question, according to the list of waste, mixed municipal waste is considered to be non-hazardous waste. But if this waste, mixed municipal waste, consists, for example, a battery or some weed, would it be considered hazardous waste? This is the first question. And the second one, it is about the coordination between municipalities and PROs, producer responsibility organizations, concerning the division, power division on collection and transport of waste. And what is the legal basis for this coordination? Thank you.
Okay, the first question I can answer. We see with as we do every 5 years, approximately every 5 years, rather detailed waste, physical waste analysis in sorting, and there we find about 0.5% of hazardous materials like batteries. But also there are also hazardous materials that are not seen obviously hazardous, but you have, for instance, in some plastic, you have add-ons that are not very healthy. This is one of the reasons why this landfill ban has been introduced, and why all the burnable material has to be incinerated. The incinerators in Austria are not only to reduce volume, but also to extract hazardous substances from the material stream, so that the ashes that are 30% of the input from the weight are not hazardous anymore, and that the probability that there are some poisonous substances can go into the groundwater is rather low. This is the first thing why we see the incineration. Other maybe than some zero waste ideologists think it. We see it as a necessity in an integrated waste management system for also along the hierarchy of waste hierarchy of the EU. So this is a sink for hazardous substances, is the incineration with the standard of wet scrubbing and getting out all the heavy metal from the airstream. The second thing is your second question was about the division of power and the legal basis for separate collection, or for the division between PROs and waste collection. There are two basic things to be discerned, which is one. The first thing is that it's the obligation of municipalities to collect ordinary municipal waste. And whenever the federal, which is organized on the province level, we have 9 provinces and 9 waste management laws, province waste management laws. And the packaging directive went into this in this regulation and said the packaging is to be organized now differently by the producers and their organization, by their PROs. So the packaging was taken out of the responsibility of the municipal waste organizations. This was the law, and then the PROs, as a start, tried to cooperate and use the experience of the municipal organizations to in waste collection, and say, can we share information, or can we also share collecting facilities? And they made and we managed private contracts. We organized private contracts where all these things, this cooperation, are regulated, and where so-called services from the municipalities for the PROs are the PROs pay for the services of the municipalities. And on the other hand, the PROs, at least in Austria, order and tender out the transport and the separate collection of the packaging material. Whereas, for instance, the paper, it is still the main fraction is magazines and newspapers, and not the packaging paper. So we have coordinated in contracts that a certain share of the packaging is in the mixed paper collection from the households, and the collection costs are shared according to the volume of the packaging in the collection. This is to be analyzed now in this year anew, and it has to be renegotiated.
Okay, Janina, I hope we answered. Johan answered.
Yes, Johan, thank you very much. Yes, I have a lot of questions, but I want to take this from other participants. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Oля was the next one to ask. Oля, the floor is yours.
Hello, thanks for interesting presentation. I have two short questions. One question is whether used drugs are covered by APR scheme in Austria, for drugs, pharmaceuticals that are generated in the households by ordinary people, if they are covered by APR scheme. And second question is if Austria used the environmental tax as an instrument to implement EPR scheme, because according to our new draft law on waste management, environmental tax is one of the forms of implementation of EPR in Ukraine. So I'm interested if it's working in Austria and how effective it is, if it works.
Okay, the answers to your two questions is in drugs, we do not have any PR schemes for drugs and medicine. but I know there is an EPR scheme in France for this. The medicine and drugs are collected by municipalities as they are forced to offer a separate collection for all the hazardous parts of the municipal waste, like batteries and others, but also like lacquer or and one of those are drugs. So the municipalities have to calculate also the treatment cost for the drugs and the separate collection of all these small quantities hazardous waste, which is rather expensive and are very small quantities. But they are covered from the individual waste management fee every household pays for. This was the first question. What was the second?
The second one was about ecotax as one of the first.
Ecotax, yeah, okay, thank you. Ecotax, this depends on what you call an ecotax. We have for the implementation of the of our landfill ban in 2004, there was there is a legal some legal stipulations for provisions of a fund that has to be funded by the owner of the waste, who is to treat the waste properly, and this was put up very high for the landfill ban. For instance, it was before about €7 per ton. Was it 7? Yeah, no, €7 per tons. €7 per tons for 1 ton of waste that had been landfill, and the landfill owner had to cash it from the one who was bringing the material and to be landfilled, and the landfill owner has to pay this to the state into this fund. And this was in the first step, and this was increased especially for untreated waste until now to about €90 per ton, and thus giving an incentive, and this could be or is nominated in Austria as a kind of eco-taxation for the waste amount. But there are so many different definitions or applications of eco-taxation that this was implemented, and very successfully implemented, as you could see, with that everyone strove after avoiding the high landfill tax, and put the landfill tax also is an incineration tax of about €9 still going on for incineration, but it is €90 for landfilling of untreated waste.
So 9 for incineration and 90 for landfilling, right?
Yeah, for untreated landfilling.
Untreated, but it's not the form of extended producer's responsibility, like producer.
No, it's something completely different, because this has been, we have about, as I told you, in the 60s we had a lot of unorganized landfilling, and we have about 4,000 endangered spots where there is a danger of leakage to groundwater. And we have a program, a so-called landfill sanitation program, for running for sanitating old landfills or industrial sites, which costs about the 45 million euro are brought up, and they say it will be 70 million would be necessary for the next 50 years to sanitate all these hazardous places, and to make them in order again, so that the groundwater cannot be poisoned anymore. And
so 45 already invested, and 70 more.
70 million a year more, and 45 are invested every year now. 70 would be necessary. to run the program for the next 50 years. Imagine what this amount of money is. So it is more, it is cheaper to treat the waste when it occurs, when the people throw it away, and not to landfill it and have to sanitate the abandoned landfill site in the future, or the next generations will have to pay for.
Okay, next question from Tatiana Omelianenko. Ola, I hope you are satisfied with answers. Tatiana, please, the floor is yours. And colleagues, we are really running out of time. We have to pass the floor to Dieter. Maybe Dieter will reply.
I can offer to send me, you collect some questions, and I will send me by email, and I will try to answer it.
Okay, that would be perfect. Tatiana, the floor is yours, and maybe other colleagues will ask questions later to Dieter.
Okay, my question is that according to the framework directive, we have extended producer responsibility for, if we will read the text, for any types of products. In practice, how you put it in legislation, and how you in practice implement extended producer responsibilities for other types of products, not batteries, not packaging. Does it work?
Tatiana, what kind of products do you mean?
Any.
Like diapers?
Yes, it's a provocative question. and the second one, not about EPR, where did you take this 45 million euros for the landfill? That's all.
This is from every ton that is incinerated in Austria. As I told you, it's about 2.2 million tons of municipal and industrial waste incinerated in Austria. Every ton is 9 euro, and some and also some money is to be paid for building and building waste that is landfilled. That has to be paid to this, and sums up to this 45 million euro. But to the other question of EPR scheme for any other types, we have only those 4 types, as I told you, and but I know from France they have also EPR scheme now for paper, magazine and newspapers. They have for furniture, and also for lacquers, for paintings, for paints, and other hazardous substances like the medical things I mentioned before, the drugs, and but you may investigate in the French legislation, where you can find some examples of this. In Austria, from the municipal side of we would like to have some more, but the industry does not want, and it is a question always of negotiations in the parliament, who is stronger.
So France is like more progressive here, maybe a little bit more pushing to producers. Okay. Colleagues, let's now switch to the presentation of Dieter, and if we have time at the very end, we will get back to the questions to Johan. If we do not have time for that, then we will write your questions and send them to Johan and Dieter, and ask them to provide replies in written or in audio format. Anything will work. Okay? Dieter, Johan, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Hope you still are here with us, right? And Dieter, the floor is yours. Luba, would you catch from here with translation? Dieter, you need to unmute your mic.
Yes, now it works. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So, hello. Do you see my presentation?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation to this webinar. It gives me the opportunity to report on the example of Austria of implementing an EPR scheme for packaging. My name is Dieter Schuch. I'm head of R&D at ARA. And so just switch the slide. Okay. The first question is, what is ARA? It's the Altstoff Recycling Austria AG. So we are the market leader in the producer responsible organization for packaging in Austria. We were founded in 1993 by the Austrian industry to ensure the compliance with the packaging ordinance. And we are based on a non-profit basis. So we organize and finance the separate collection, the sorting and the recycling and the recovery of packaging in Austria. And to do so, we use more than 1.9 million collection bins for paper, plastics, metals, and glass. But we also have new targets, new challenges to reach the targets of the new circular economy package of the EU. So I would like to lead you through this story, pointing out these topics, framework, so what is the basics, then the model we put into practice, what is operation, and what are the effects and achievements. The framework. The basic principle is the extended producer responsibility for packaging. What does it mean? It means that we set different responsibilities for different waste streams. For the collection of residual waste and bio-waste, it is organized and waste paper, so such as magazines and newspapers. This is organized by the municipalities and financed via waste fees. For the collection of packaging, so paper packaging, metal packaging, plastic packaging, glass packaging, we have implemented a second kind of system, so-called dual system, and it was in 1993. The producers are responsible to finance and organize this separate collection. And ARA is such a system of such an EPR system. So what are the producer responsibility is set in the Austrian packaging ordinance. It sets the producer responsibility for all packaging and for primary obliged companies. What does that mean? That means any company who brings packaging in the market is responsible. That are the packers and fillers for the primary distribution of packaging. That are importers of packaging of the goods they import, but also producers and importers of service packaging. So that this is, for example, shopping bags or takeaway packaging. So this producer responsibility in Austria is for all streams, all packaging streams, so household and commercial packaging. That differs to some other countries. And also a difference is that in Austria we have a full cost system, full cost responsibility. In most of the other countries in Europe, EPR schemes just pay a percentage of the total costs. So if you see some comparisons of fees of different countries, you have that, keep in mind that they are not comparable because of the different responsibilities. So there are two options for the compliance for the companies. the first thing on the left side, this is an exception. Yeah, this is the self-compliance of packaging. This is only possible for commercial packaging. That means that companies can, for their commercial packaging, can organize their own collection, recovery, and recycling, and they have to fulfill some reporting to the Ministry of Environment. The basic and standard case is to take part in a PRO system, and this is obligatory for household packaging. That means that the companies have to sign an agreement to report their quantities and to pay the material specific fees. Talking about the fees, what are the fees? You see as an example the tariff scheme of ARA. It is structured in so-called packaging categories. They are defined also in the packaging ordinance. And you see above the household packaging tariffs and below the commercial packaging tariffs. And what is important, that the household fees are more expensive than the commercial packaging fees. Why? Because the collection from households is much more expensive than from trade and industry. So this is, it follows that it is very important also to give a clear definition what is household packaging and commercial packaging, because otherwise I will report my packaging as commercial packaging and not as household packaging. What are the further key elements of the regulatory framework? I have mentioned it. For the obliged companies, there is a so-called classification ordinance. This gives a legally binding and clear definition between household and commercial packaging. We have the mandatory participation for household packaging. And we also have an auditing process by the Packaging Coordination Office. What does that mean? That means that companies who bring packaging on the market are regularly audited by the Packaging Coordination Office if the reports to the PROs about the packaging brought into the market is correct and complete. That is very important, and this is also set in the packaging ordinance to avoid market distortions between the different companies selling products. And before we had competition in Austria between the household schemes. Till 2005, ARA was the only packaging scheme in Austria for household packaging. We did it ourselves, but in a competition situation, we can't audit our own clients in competition with other systems. So the packaging ordinance gave this opportunity that this is done by an independent packaging coordination office. It is done in reality. They commission financial auditors which do this these audits. And we also have, the second point is we also have a regulatory framework for the PROs. Once again, when we started in 1993, there was only one PRO, so it was relatively easy to have a regulation. With a competition situation, there were some amendments because it was very important to set fair market conditions for all PROs to avoid market distortions. So what is said towards the PROs, equal treatment for all customers. Also a shared use of the infrastructure. What does that mean? That means that the inhabitants only have one bin and not have 5 bins because there are 5 PROs. So there is only one bin, and the bin is shared between the PROs. I come to that a bit later. So this is also stated here, no duplication. And for some common services, there were found a packaging coordination office, for example, for the audits, but also for waste analysis and coordination of communication. This slide shows the market shares. So ARA is the market leader of the compliance schemes for packaging in Austria. We have 5 PROs, and we are the oldest PRO in Austria. We started in 1993, and now we have a market share of 70 to 80%, depending on the packaging fraction. So once again, I want to point out what we did to organize the competition between the PROs. So the basic principle is that that it is prohibited to duplicate the infrastructure. So this is forbidden. But the pros can make have two different possibilities to organize a PRO. They can make direct contracts with the collectors. So each PRO has the same contracts with the collectors. Or they can make a contract with another PRO, with an existing PRO that is useful for new PROs which think that is too complicated to make a contract with each collector. So this is this will be easier for a new PRO to come into the market. But after the common collection, the material is split up according to market share of the PROs, and it is physically, the PROs take over physically the collected packaging according to their market share and organize the sorting and the recycling. I have to mention that the collection is all these processes, collection, sorting, recovery, are coming out of a tendering process. So just we have one exception. If a municipality has done already the household collection for us as a collector, they can do the collection further without a tendering process. But in most cases, in most districts in Austria, we have a tendering process to find the collector. And with this collector, all PROs have to make the collection contracts. I mentioned this also before. We have also the packaging coordination office. It's for common services to the PROs. So it is also paid by the PROs. And on the other side, there is the Ministry of Environment, who takes over the supervision. So the supervision is not done by the packaging coordination office, but by the ministry. The ministry is the authority who is setting the rules and also audits the PROs regularly. We also have legal requirements for the systems given in the packaging ordinance. So they have to be formally approved. They have to have contracts for nationwide collection service with the collectors. They have to meet collection and recycling targets, and they are under supervision of the ministry, also with by an expert commission. This is also in the PRO. Then I think you ask what are the legal targets for the PROs. So these are divided in household sector and commercial system, and we have targets for the separate collection, for recovery, and for recycling. I have a slide which explains the current system of this target system. What is here the concept? We have on the one side is the market input. The market input is theoretically the packaging which is reported by the producers, packaging brought into the market. So this is theoretically equal. We have a low free rider rate. Then we have here the dark green column are the separate collection targets for household packaging per material. And above there is also a light green column. So that means this is higher. That means that in Austria the PROs are responsible for more than the separate collection. They also are responsible for a given share of packaging which was not separately collected. So this was done by the Chamber of Commerce. They negotiated with or otherwise the municipalities negotiated with the Chamber of Commerce, and it came out that the PROs also have to take over producer responsibility for a given share of packaging what was not collected separately. So there are different meanings. You could also say, okay, why should the PRO finance this? Because we offer the separate collection, and we are, if the inhabitants don't separate the packaging, it's not our fault. But yes, it was said. Then we have the targets of the recycling targets, which are then calculated from the separate collection. So the recovery and collection targets are calculated from the license quantity, from the reported packaging quantity brought into the market. The recycling quota is then calculated from the collected material. So we have, as perhaps Johan also mentioned, we have new challenges. This slide shows now the reached targets of packaging in Austria, packaging recycling. So we see we have a very high recycling rates in reached packaging, and we already achieved the most targets given, new targets given by the EU. What is a topic is the hot topic is now the plastic topic, because we have now 33% recycling. The target was 22.5, but with new EU calculation methods, we drop to 25%. But we have to, in 2025, we have to double this recycling quantity to 50%, and then we have to raise it right to 55%. So we have developed a corresponding strategy and plan how we can fulfill these new targets. This is just one slide which shows the dimension of different plastic products and packaging. So we have about 1.3 million tons of plastics, 300,000 tons of plastic packaging, about 50,000 tons of plastic bottles, and 6,000 tons of carrier bags. What was done? Carrier bags were forbidden in Austria, but you see, it's compared to the plastic quantities. This is just a cosmetic PR measure to have a ban here. Nevertheless, it's useful for composting plants. Yes, but compared to the big quantity, it's only a minor quantity. Then we have the plastic bottles, and now there are discussed is also discussed a deposit system on plastic bottles, but a plastic bottle deposit would only contribute to the targets for recycling targets for plastic packaging very low. So it would be a second expensive system, and we think as ARA, we think that it's only the second best solution, a parallel deposit system. We think it's useful to have a common plan to fulfill this challenge of plastic recycling. So there are different discussions, and also about littering, there are different studies, different interpretations. So, and the ministry, it is not clear what, the future is not clear yet. So there are different working groups on this topic. What is the model put into practice? On top, what is the concept of our business model? On top, you see the license partners who pay the license fee to ARA, corresponding to the packaging put on the market. And we have then contracts with the collectors, sorters, and recyclers, which with regularly tenders, and organize as a full cost system the collection, sorting, and recovery, recycling of the packaging. There are also contracts with the local communities. Johan also explained it. There are different services which provide the municipalities. They, in some cases, they are collecting companies, They also provide services on municipal waste collection centers for packaging. And we also pay for waste consultants. This is a communication matter. So the waste associations of the municipalities have employees called waste consultants who explain to the inhabitants the separate collection and other waste matters. And we also finance them that they include in their messages and their explanations also the packaging. The ARA is how is ARA organized? We are already told a private non-profit organization, which was founded by the industry. So 1/3 belongs to the retailers, 1/3 to packers, fillers, and 1/3 to producers. It's on a non-profit basis, and it's also important that waste operators have here no voting rights in this group, because they have other interests than the producers. Perhaps here we have some subsidiaries also, and one subsidiary takes over the EPR, is an EPR system for electronic equipment. So next point is the how do we come to the tariffs? As I mentioned, non-profit. We have on the one side, do we have the cost structure? There are costs for recovery, sometimes also for recycling. We have transport costs, collection via residual waste, collection, sorting, I have forgotten, and the collection infrastructure and overhead. On the other side, we have the revenues. The revenues are the license fee revenues from the clients, from our customers, and also the revenues from recycling. So you see, with the revenues from recycling, I am not able to finance this cost block. And today we also have a drop down of the revenues from recycling. So also with new regulations from the EU circular economy package, we think the fees will rise in the next years. They have to rise. Yes, fees. We have fees, then fees for the tariff categories, for the packaging put into the market. This packaging has to be reported to the PROs. Here is also the packaging ordinance gives some regulations how to report. It depends on the packaging quantity. If it has to be reported monthly or yearly or just quarterly. It is we get these packaging quantities via online reporting. We have here online reporting mask, so the companies send us their packaging put into the market, licensed via ARA. And what is done then? What is the next step? The next step is that we, all PROs, have once a month, they have to summarize these packaging quantities and report it to the ministry. The ministry makes the total sum and calculates the market share of each PRO. And then these market shares are then published on a website of the ministry. We need this monthly market share that that it is clear to what extent the PROs are responsible for the collected packaging and for the costs of the collection. But I will have this in the next slide. So I move on to the operation. we have now here the value chain of ARA, the example of the lightweight packaging. Above, we see the household packaging. The household packaging is depending on the packaging fraction, is done via curbside collection or via bring systems. So in case of plastic packaging, lightweight packaging, we have more than about 60%. We have about 60% of curbside collection. Paper collection is also about 50% curbside collection. And in metal packaging and glass packaging, there is mostly a bring system, so with container banks in the streets. Curbside collection means that you have a yellow bag, for example, in your house, or a container by your house. This packaging is collected and then is divided through the market share to the different PROs, and the PROs then organize the following steps: sorting and recycling, recovery. In case of commercial packaging, it's the same, but we have here a bring system in most cases. So we have just in paper collection, we have there is a street collection of loose paper packaging in some cities. So this would also be a curbside collection, but in most cases we have a bring system. So, and here you see the different bins. Yellow bins for lightweight packaging, red for paper, blue for metal. So we mostly in most regions of the country, we use different containers for metal packaging and lightweight packaging. Lightweight packaging means plastic, compounds, beverage cartons, and some other minor packaging materials. In some cases in Austria, we also have a combined collection of metal bags and lightweight packaging. Here is the blue bin integrated in the yellow bin. So we think that it would be the best we also have some other differences all over Austria, and we think one major key factor is that to reach future targets, that we have a unity separate collection all over Austria. So that would be an important factor to reach the higher quotas. Here you see the municipal collection centers operated by the municipalities. So we pay them for taking over also packaging fractions. They take over also bulky waste and hazardous waste and bio-waste from the municipalities. What is after the collection? After the collection, we have the sorting. So we have here some pictures of sorting. You see here yellow bags, which were collected. They are opened automatically. And we have then the conveyor belts and near-infrared sorting. So we have about 15 sorting plants. So we have we have contracts with about 15 sorting plants in Austria for lightweight packaging. They most have automatic sorting.
Dieter, 15 or 50?
15. 15. 1-5.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Okay, then we have examples of output fractions. You see after the sorting process, you have here the clean bottles, and for example, HDPE bottles, aluminium, foils, which then are delivered to recycling plants. One example of a recycling plant, this is in Mühlendorf in Burgenland. This is a bit special company because it was founded by the Austrian beverage industry, and it produces food grade PET material. What are the collection amounts? You see here the collection amounts per capita per region in Austria, and you see that some regions have lower collection amounts. That is also this is also because we have in some cases in Austria, we have, in case of lightweight packaging, we have focused on plastic bottles. So that's why when I said the inhabitants, please collect only plastic bottles in the yellow bin, so the collected quantity is smaller than if I say, okay, collect all, put in all plastic packaging. So this is on this side. So, but as I mentioned before, we have the new targets. We have also to raise this other regions to this per capita amounts, and also open also the now existing plastic bottle collection to every kind of plastic packaging, so that we have a unity, common and plastic packaging collection in Austria for all plastic packaging. So this is a slide of the masses which were collected by ARA. This was about of all PROs, household sector. This is PRO ARA. So we collect about 700,000 tons of packaging. So what are the effects and achievements of the system? This slide shows you the number of license fees. So this is also interesting because of the question we had before with Johan. In the start, 1993, this was in the producer responsibility was a new idea in whole Europe, and the companies didn't understand that they now had to pay for packaging. So this was very difficult at the beginning of the ARA to convince all the companies to join the system. But you see, after 2 years, this was...
Dieter,
yes.
there's something with your mic. Please.
So does it now work?
Yeah, now it works. Okay. Please repeat one more time. At the beginning, it was difficult.
At the beginning, it was difficult to convince the customers, the companies, to join the system. But after 2 years, we managed that the most companies have understood the producer responsibility, and it raised a steady. So we have only a low share of free riders, about 10%. This just shows that the line would go develop here, but because of the competition, ARA lost some clients, but these clients are not lost. They are at some other PROs, and now it is it is the situation that every company, every most important company, every company is license partner with a PRO. Also, the trade claims that they have to fulfill the packaging ordinance. so that the free rider share is below 10%. And perhaps also one comment to the industry. I think 1993 it was really a big change of meaning of thinkness to be responsible for the packaging. Now it is clear for the companies that they are responsible for packaging. And if you look at the wholesale companies and the trade, we have really examples that they are faster than the EU regulations with their conditions for suppliers. So suppliers for goods, they have now to prove that the packaging is already recyclable and it is licensed and so on. So this I think this and we also have that packaging environment is very important for the inhabitants. So this is also a change. Is different. Compared to 1993, now it is clear, I think, that, and if you have international companies in the Ukraine, I think it is clear that they have to join a system if there is one. We also have, we ask the consumers regularly. They think 95% think that sorting waste is a good idea. It's also reached that it's normal for the Austrians to separate waste. And we reduced our costs by more than 50% because of regularly tenders, but also because of a non-profit organization. So you see, we managed to raise to lower the costs more than 50%. And now I'm nearly at the end of my presentation. So we also achieved a decoupling of GNP versus packaging consumption. This was the last slide. Here we have some summary of some reached results and numbers. I hope I could give you an overview about the Austrian EPR system for packaging waste, and are open for questions.
Dieter, great. Thanks a lot. Very clear and cool presentation. We have first question from Luba. She will ask and then switch to translation, and I will moderate the rest of questions. Okay, Luba?
Yeah, thank you very much for such informative presentation. Very short questions. Producers inside of the EPR, ARA, they are competitors. Which information is confidential for them, which you know and they don't, like each of them?
So we know from our competitors, we know the market shares from the ministry. So we know our market share. So we know the quantities of the different PROs. But we also know from our sales department, we also know which client is at which PRO. So we have some re-acquisition of our clients, but and we yes. So the total masses of packaging is then reported by the ministry. And we also give in our reports some totally numbers of collected waste. But in principle, we have there is at the moment we have managed not to have lawsuits, really heavy lawsuits between different PROs. So there is, I think, a common understanding to develop the packaging collection together.
But inside one PRO, a couple of producers, they don't know the share of each of them.
So, okay, then I misunderstood you.
Yeah, but those answer was also interesting.
Yes, sorry. No, so this is confidential. So the packaging quantities reported from each single company is confidential, but it has to be reported to the ministry. And the ministry uses these quantities, gives these quantities further to the packaging coordination office, and they then audit. Also, the audit, it is the basic for an audit for the company. But the companies don't know from our side. They don't know the packaging quantities of each other. So perhaps they know it because they have market insights, but not from us.
Okay, thank you.
Luba, so translation is yours, and I switch to questions. Okay, we have two hands raised. I see again Yanina and Tatiana. Yanina and Tatiana, would you allow participants from previous block to ask their questions? I don't know if Olga, Victoria, Irina still want to ask their questions. If yes, please text message or raise hand or switch on mic, something like that. Victoria, okay. Can you switch your mic? Not see you. Okay, I see you. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Victoria, we can hear you. Yep.
Thank you for presentation. Today I have two questions. First, I saw the logo of green dot on ARA logo. I want to know about does ARA work with it and how? It's first question. Second question, please. Tell me about the difference between private collectors and municipal collectors. Thank you.
Okay, so the green dot, we are one of the European green dot systems. Green dot is a trademark invented by the German Grüner Punkt system, and this trademark was given to other systems in Europe as a common trademark, and it stands for a producer responsibility system managed by the producers. There was a bit a change in the 1990s. All these systems were non-profit systems, but there are now examples that also green dot systems have changed to profit systems. So, for example, that the German green dot system has changed to a profit system. Also yes. The green dot means is often misunderstood. It means that a producer has paid for this packaging, for compliance of this packaging, and but it's not obligatory. So in Austria it's not obligatory. The producer can use the green dot, but don't have to do it. It's also difficult with some, if you have competition, you can't say, okay, you have to put it on the packaging. So this would be difficult. The second question is the difference between private and municipal collectors. So before 2005, we run regularly nationwide tenders for collection of the different districts. So the tender was then there were private collecting companies and also municipal collectors who applied for the tender, and then we had in most cases there are private waste collectors. In some cases we had then also municipal waste collectors. Why there are not so many? Because this is mostly only in case that is in large cities. Only large cities mostly have own collection companies, like Vienna, for example. 2005 there was a change, and the regulation said, okay, the tenders can only be done for the private collectors, and the municipal collectors, which had been so far collectors, can be further the collector. So they don't have to do the tendering process, but this is the regulation says also that the costs have to be adequate. So adequate. So this is in this case we have nationwide tenders for collection, but in cases where there are existing private collectors, we have only negotiations of the price. Mm-hmm. But then the service is yes, it depends. Okay. We have the same conditions, the same standards for private or for municipal collectors.
Okay, so municipal collectors do not go to tender, but they have to provide the adequate price, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Next question from Irina Sirotenko, I suggest, because we promised Irina to ask her question. Irina, are you ready? If yes, please unmute.
Yes, thank you very much. Dieter, thank you very much for your presentation. Johan, thank you too, and a special gratitude to the Ministry. I have one small practical question about the recovery organization and its members. So let's imagine that we have a recovery organization and it unites big multinational producers. And we also have a very small producer, local producer of plastic cups, for example, on the market. And my question is, are there any privileges from the state for this small producer of plastic cups, or does he have to join the recovery organization together with the other big multinational companies? Thank you very much.
So we have we have a flat fee. We have a flat fee introduced for small producers. Every company has to in Austria to join a system, but for low packaging quantities there's a flat fee. This is the difference, and we have the same price list for each company size. So otherwise, if he wants to calculate his packaging quantities and report it in real numbers, not flat fee, it's this. They have the same price for each tariff category, like a multinational company.
I will comment briefly in Ukrainian. Це єдиний податок на першій групі у нас. Да? Заплатив там якусь фіксовану суму і все. Своє зобов'язання перед державою виконав. Thank you, Dieter. Irina, I hope you are satisfied with this reply. Tatiana and Yanina. Yanina, please go.
Yes, hello once again. Thank you very much, Dieter, for your presentation, especially for infographics. It's really amazing and very and explains everything very well. I have several questions. I'll try now to point to the first one. Are there collection or other waste management targets for municipal authorities exactly? And if yes, what is their responsibility for their fulfillment? It's the first question.
For municipal what? For municipal
authorities, municipalities.
Okay, targets for municipal authorities. Okay, thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The second question, is there any competition of collection companies or PROs must make agreement with the company authorized by the municipality? I mean, for collection and transport of household waste that is covered by EPR. Exactly. This is the second question. And the third question is about payments. I mean, like payments, tariffs of households for their household waste that is not covered by EPRs, but maybe you know it, like you live in Austria. When you pay the tariff for this household waste, where it goes? Does it go directly to the transport company, or it goes directly to the municipality?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, these are some questions also to Johan, but I will wrap it up. The targets of municipalities, yes, there are targets given by the EU for municipal waste. It also has to raise in the next years. Then we have the collection. I think that the second question
is more to Johan, right? About payments.
No, this was the third question was about payments. So I think also the municipalities carry out tenders for collection, and this is the second question, I think, and these payments go to the municipalities and not to the commissioned collectors. So the municipality commissions their collector.
Mm-hmm. And about collecting companies, do ARA does ARA work with companies already chosen by municipality, or you can use your own collection company?
Yes, no, we as mentioned, we choose our own collectors. So we have all, to simplify the answer, all PROs run regularly nationwide tenders for the collection together, and each collection company can apply for it. So, and the best offer will get will get it. So there is no process that municipalities tell us the collectors. But as I mentioned before, in case the municipalities itself is the collector, then we have to negotiate with them without tendering.
Okay, next question from Tatiana, and we also have one question here from, oh, Johan, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Yes, please, you go, Johan.
To make it clear about these two questions, also on municipal waste management fees, municipalities usually tender out. It is about 35. We have about 2,100 municipalities in Austria of different size, and about 35 of them run their own waste management company or do the waste collection on their own. All the others have united to Waste Management Association, and those tender out the transportation and collection. And some of those companies who have won the collection for instance, for bio-waste or paper waste or residual waste, also apply for the collection of yellow bag with the ARA or metal or glass packaging. So this is a mixed private market, and they can participate in the tender. It is this packaging tendering is every 3 to 5 years. It's of each one collection region is the whole Austria is divided in 100 districts, and each is one of the collection regions which is tendered individually. And the money, it is about as an average, to give you some hint, as an average household waste management fee, we can say it's about 200 euro per household of 2.6 inhabitants is per year, and the money goes by law to the municipalities, and they pay the companies who they give the tender to.
Thanks a lot, Johan. This is a very valuable comment on that. Colleagues, I suggest that we switch to Tatiana's questions, and we also have 2 questions in chat from Olga and from Elena. I will unmute Tatiana now. Tatiana, please ask your questions, and then I will name questions from Olga and Elena, and that would be all, because we have to set 3-hour speakers. We are already out of time, basically. Okay, Tatiana, please go.
Yes. My question is, what is the share between commercial and household packaging? And what was the reason to share it? Because, for example, if we will start only to implement extended producer responsibility for the packaging, I don't know, maybe I'm mistaken, but I think that it will be enough to work with the big cities and to work with commercial packaging to achieve small targets. So if we will put in Ukraine quite low targets, our producers of packaging will not be interested to cooperate with municipalities, especially with the small municipalities. So what you can recommend?
So the packaging share is the total of the total packaging share is more than half is household packaging. Also, I've calculated it at 55% is household packaging and 45% is commercial packaging. From the quantities that are brought into the market. The reason of the different quotas was that it's if you want to have a municipal separate collection and you give only one target, there is the danger that you only focus on the cheaper commercial waste streams. So it would be efficient to reach specific targets. This is no discussion, but if you want to have a certain amount of household collection, this was the concept that we gave also here some separate collection quotas to ensure that this is done also in the municipalities. If you want to start such a system, yes, I think as a start, you certainly begin with some pilot projects and to learn with this experience and then extend it to the whole country. So it may be a useful step to focus at first on some larger cities and then extend it in several steps to the whole country with the experience.
Mm-hmm. Tatiana, I think this is the complete answer. Johan, I don't know whether you have any comments on that from your side.
No.
No. Okay, good. So we also had 2 questions from the audience in the chat. Let me find them. So the first one was from Olga. How do you reach consensus with all stakeholders in the waste management? What are the regulatory documents in this direction? How do you reach consensus with all stakeholders in the waste management? What are the regulatory documents in this direction?
So we have the packaging sector is very well regulated. We have a number of ordinances which sets regulations for the producers, for the PROs, but also for the collectors. So this is the legal framework. So everyone has to know it and has to do it. And in the process of this, we have this was launched a few years ago. We have a so-called stakeholder dialogue. It is between the ministry and the PROs and the municipalities. And also Chamber of, I think is also in Chamber of Commerce, and they discuss about packaging topics and future processes.
Okay. Okay, Johan, something from your part, not only on packaging.
Well, this is put it very simple. There's this stakeholder dialogue when we had the needs to open the market for household for household packaging collection systems. It was a negotiation of 8 years in the stakeholder dialogue to come to legal regulations which everyone could consent to, and now we are running it again, and it's 28 different stakeholder groups are involved in the whole process. So this is rather a big discussion on a big level where the ministry tries to be the moderator and tries to come with proposals which is consensus that can be put to a legal, and this consensus be put into legal stipulation that everyone afterwards has to obey. If he does not, there is the possibility of legal fines and lawsuits.
Okay, okay. Good. So the final question from Yelena. She probably joined a bit later because she asks about reporting. It seems to me that it was covered in your presentation, but still, question is how the data about the volume and numbers of collected and recycled packaging is obtained. Mm-hmm. How this data is verified, by whom, and at what stage?
Yeah. Okay. So here in this case, you saw that the online tool for the packaging reported, put on the market. There is also one IT system for which is used by all PROs and used by all collectors and sorters and recyclers. And in this system, the collectors, sorters, and recyclers report the weighing notes, the quantities of the packaging that was brought from A to B, and what fractions are they, and based on this, this IT system also is the common part of this IT system is for collection of all PROs, and it automatically calculates the market shares of the packaging of each weighing node. So if a collector is collecting packaging from collection regions, he drives the driver drives over the weighing bridge. We have a weighing node, and this weighing node is going into the IT system. And in this IT system, there is the monthly market shares of the PROs is in it. And then it calculates automatically the quantity of each PRO system, and each PRO system has its quantities. And yes, and so it is managed in a common IT tool.
That's convenient. Is it only yours IT tool? Each PRO has its separate IT tool, or you have one? Yes,
we have a common IT tool for the collection, for the common collection. So for the also for the different calculation of the quantities divided into the market shares. This is a common IT system, but then after this collection step, each system has its own IT tools, each their own reporting structure with the collectors, with the sorters and the recyclers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks a lot, colleagues. Looks like we are done with questions for now. maybe we will get back to you in written later. We also have here 2 more people, Tatiana Tevkun, which is representative of the reform support team, and we have Ганс Майр here, who is the representative of the Environmental Agency of Austria. And I wanted to ask Ганс and Tatiana, who helped a lot with basically organize this seminar, whether you want to share a few words with us, with those who are still in this seminar. Ганс, Tatiana.
Okay. Yes, so I would ask you, I would congratulate you for a very well organized seminar, and I would thank my 2 Austrian colleagues, Dieter and Johann, for making really very nicely understandable presentations showing what a long way we went through in Austria to develop the current system. And now let's say, you have to be aware when you're now, well, congratulations to Ukraine that you are now moving to really have getting with quite some good mutual understanding of the stakeholders, waste management law through Parliament, with which you can build up and reform your waste management system. Just be aware that not everything can be built up in one moment. But you have also the chance that a lot of things where we just came to solutions slowly with a lot of try and errors in the past, you can now more rapidly take the newest successful examples and try to implement something in the Ukraine. And I'm very much impressed how all these young professional waste management experts in Ukraine are working together and are pushing the official institutions and the entire society to make some progress from batteries to whatsoever. So I think Ukraine is on a very good way, and when we can do something to support it further, we will do.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, and thank you for your supporting all the spheres, not only with this seminar, but we know how invaluable is your participation in our internal processes. Your experience is very important for us. Tatiana, a few words from you, and we will sum up. And
I want to thank all of our participants, and especially to our speakers. Thank you very much for investing your time, and thank you very much for doing this pro bono. We are very appreciated. And Ганс Майr, thank you very much. I know that you have been supporting our reform, Ukrainian reform, around for a year. And we also appreciate it. It's very important to know that somebody would answer some questions, and I can call in any time and ask a small question or answer for a bigger one, and you could find us good experts. And also I want to say thank you for our participants. I hope this event is very useful for all of us.
Thanks, Tatiana. Thanks, Ганс. One more time, Dieter and Johann, thank you very much for investing your time in this adventure, for these wonderful presentations. We hope to receive final versions of them by email, and if you would allow us, we will disseminate these presentations among participants. And we also made recording of this video, so if you allow us, we will also publish this video online on our YouTube channel. I hope this is fine with you, and maybe we will follow up with some questions. Please answer them.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Johann. Thanks a lot, Dieter. Thank you to everyone. We hope this was helpful, and we realize that this is just the beginning of our big internal discussion in the country. So stay tuned, follow the news, and we are planning to organize a lot of other interesting events where you can grab some important piece of information. Keep in touch. Thanks once again, Dieter, Johann, Johannes.
Thanks to everyone.
Luba, special thanks to you with the translation. Thank you very much for all of your efforts. Yes, thank you.
Made it together.
That was quite a challenge.
Okay.
Thank you once again. Goodbye. Goodbye to everyone. I now stop translation. Now stop recording.